Okay, today we're going to talk about how much nitrogen I can put on my vegetable garden. Not all plants need the same levels of nitrogen, and therefore there's different formulations of fertilizer out there that you can use on your garden depending on what you're planting. Now, let's just go down right to this. Distinguishing fertilizers. They have three numbers on there. See this at 3300? That would mean it has 33 nitrogen, 0 potassium, phosphates, and 0 potassium. So what this number means is NPK. 1, 2, 3 numbers. Nitrogen, phosphate, potassium. That's the levels that are in the fertilizers you buy in the store. So 666 would be 6 nitrogen, 6 phosphate, and 6 potassium. So when you go read that box, that's going to tell you how to do it. Now, here's some examples of vegetable nitrogen requirements. Vegetables that require high nitrogen levels include beets, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, Asian greens, potatoes, leek, spinach, and Swiss chard. Most leafy greens do well with high nitrogen, but it is a good idea to check the specific requirement of the vegetables you plant. High nitrogen ratio fertilizers in this one particularly would be a 16, a 5, and a 5. So 16 nitrogen, 5 phosphate, 5 potassium. Vegetables that have a medium balanced nitrogen requirement include chicory, asparagus, eggplant, lettuce, garlic, onions, squash, pepper, tomato, and sweet corn. The balance for the nitrogen ratio in that type of fertilizer you would want is an even one, is 16, 16, 16. 16 nitrogen, 16 phosphate, 16 potassium. Vegetables that require low-level nitrogen include cucumbers, carrots, fava beans, peas, radish, parsnip, turnip, and rutabaga. These vegetables are the ones that set flowers to grow or have edible roots. Low nitrogen ratio in fertilizer is a 5, 10, 10. So if you have had struggling to grow carrots in your garden, and you'd have all the loose soil and everything else, and they're just not doing it for you, well, it's probably because your nitrogen level's too high in your garden. So I've had a lot of people last year tell me that, oh, I couldn't get my carrots to grow. Maybe this is the reason. You need a 5 nitrogen, 10 phosphate, and 10 potassium fertilizer for that if you're going to do that. And also you can get a soil sample, a soil analyzer for these items in your soil. You get these little kits and you check the strips, and I think some they just send them off, or these companies just send it off and send you back the results or email it to you. Nitrogen for fruit-bearing vegetables. The fruit-bearing vegetables such as eggplant, cucumber, pepper, melon, and tomato need a good dose of nitrogen in order to start off a healthy plant. But later, as the fruit starts to form, they need a fertilizer that is high in concentration of potash, which is what potassium is. That's another name for potassium. That NPK, the K on the end, is potash or potassium. And I'm not going to go through the rest of this stuff. This will be down below. You can read it yourself, but you probably want to do a soil test on your soil if you really have struggling. You've used the right fertilizer, you got the right soil, and it's just not going. You might have a problem with your soil itself. So it's best to determine what is in your soil. But also, I'm going to tell you right now that something like a carrot, these vegetables with low nitrogen, and they need a pH of the soil 5.5 to 7.0. And usually you'll hit, some of these are usually around 5.8, 6.4. Like a 5.8 to 6.4 pH is for like potatoes. And so if you kind of look at the pH balance you need in these different types of vegetables that need high nitrogen, medium nitrogen, low nitrogen, I think you're going to find that the pHs in a lot of these are going to be around the same level. So you want to check your pH levels too. And I've done some previous videos on that and done charts and stuff, so you can look around for it. But yeah, I just want to make people aware of when they go to start the garden this spring, check your soil, check the pH, and make sure that when you're using a fertilizer, it's appropriate to the vegetable you're trying to grow. And also, if you get like yellow leaves on your pepper plants or your tomato plants or tomato plants, it's because of the fact of it most likely doesn't have enough magnesium in the soil. And the one way you can remedy that real quick, take a little water, mix up some Epsom salt. It's magnesium sulfate, and you can just pour it around the plant or on the leaves. Someplace put it on the leaves, and that will help turn those yellow leaves on your peppers or your tomato plants green. That's one method. Another method is to embed more peat moss into your soil. But know this for a fact that the Epsom salt, the magnesium sulfate, is pH neutral and will not affect lower or increase your pH level in your soil. Thank you for watching.